Hi, my name is Adekunle Nodash Adejuyigbe. I'm a filmmaker and I'm the director for The Delivery Boy. This is the process behind The Delivery Boy.
Of course you know who I am. Yes, I be one of them. But no, I no be like them. But does that matter to you? No. For your mind, I be butcher, kidnapper, murderer. In fact, na me be the devil. And you think say you know me. But what do you really know? Do you know my mother?
The premise of the story is simple, right? There's a teenage terrorist who runs away the night before a suicide mission and takes the bomb with him. So the whole story happens that night. We're trying to find out why did he run away? Why did he, even if you're running away, why take the bomb? Where are you going? And then on the way, he meets a prostitute who has a very interesting story too. And then the night ends quite unpredictably for both of them.
Tonight, waiting if he be.
So one of the first things people notice about the film is the way it was shot. And that's because it was shot very deliberately, right? And the cinematic language, as I like to express it, is it's one that I already had in mind from the beginning, from the moment I had the story in mind. And this is because, I wrote the film, I directed it, and I was a cinematographer and editor on the film. So it gave me an edge in the sense that I knew exactly how every scene should look.
Then my only prayer be say, Baba God, please, just make sure say my money complete.
For every film, right, films like this, it was clear to me that this film was supposed to take us into the mind of the principal character, Amir. So at every point in time, I kept asking myself, what is Amir thinking now? What does this thing mean to him? What does this scene mean to him? What does this space mean to him? So in the scene you're watching, it's a scene where it's a return home of sorts. So he returns to the orphanage where he was raised because he got information that he could find somebody was looking for. Was looking for a guy called Malam Sadan, who's his adopted, who's his foster father. And he got information that he could get Malam Sadan's address from the woman who raised him in the orphanage. So he went back to the orphanage. And here we see him walking into the orphanage and he's backlit, he's in silhouette. And this is one of the reasons, there are many reasons to that. One of the reasons is because of what happens next and what he finds out. So essentially he finds out that what he thought was home was not exactly home. There were layers to his adoption that he didn't know before, right? The way it was lit is also, for me, a poetic reference to the fact that this film, for me, is about how we think in terms of black and white, two extremes. If something is not good, it's bad. If it's not bright, it's dark. But by mixing those in almost every scene, I was hinting at the fact that life is not black and white. Even the guys who are, in quotes, villains in this film, if you really listen to them, you would start asking yourself if they really are villains. So for example, he comes home, the woman who ran the orphanage, Sister Dorcas, came to him, welcomed him, but as she was welcoming him, she was distracting him from somebody who was trying to kill him. But Amir, being a trained soldier, was able to kill that guy and, take charge of the situation.
It is so good to see you. You have grown very big. Amir, you must tell me all that's been happening to you. Are you all right?
Then he was shot by Sister Dorcas. And then she said something that I feel is profound. She said, she's been working with these guys for a while, and that when she started the orphanage, she wanted to take care of kids, but at any point in time, she would have about 50 kids, and there was just not enough money to take care of them.
But how dare you repay Madam Sadan's kindness this way? Why couldn't you just do as you were told, like the other kids?
So you know why they work for these people?
When I started this place, I started it to help children.
So these are the children that society has cast aside, and she had put it upon herself to take care of them, but she did not have the resources. And then these guys come and say, oh, give us some children that nobody's going to adopt, maybe one or two every year, and we'll train them to be... They didn't tell her what they were doing with them, but of course she knew. And she agreed. So she asked him a question, and she said,
but when I ended up having to feed 50 kids with only enough money to feed 20 of them, what was I supposed to do? Or do you think it is the Indomie and Bovita that the celebrities bring that runs this place? Do you? See, all they wanted were the older boys who no one will adopt.
You know, and for me, that is like life. You know, it's not black and white. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just all in the gray area. You know, so the delivery boy is lit that way. Everything is. You see the two extremes clashing almost in every single scene. This scene is a scene that I find very interesting because it's an action sequence where Kazim, who's like the Amir's supervisor, who was supposed to watch him, finally finds Amir, and there's a fight between Kazim and Amir. At the beginning of the fight, Inkem, the prostitute who he ran into, was in the scene, but she was quickly knocked out by Kazim. And then there's a fight between the two of them. Now the thing is, for fight scenes, it's very clear to me that, because I know a bit about unarmed combat, and I know for sure that when people fight, nobody starts fighting. I mean, I've never seen people fight on the streets and then they start doing karate, katas or stuff. No, there's a certain way people fight. They fight like, the way you fight, you know, there's a saying in martial arts that you don't know people until you fight them. Because the fight is still an extension of your character. So for me, fight sequences are essentially still dialogue, but the dialogue is just communicated with, you know, fists or weapons or whatever. So you can see the dynamics in this fight scene. At the very beginning, Kazim is going after Amir, and Amir is really just trying to stop him from attacking him. He's not fighting back up until a certain point. And then there was something I also wanted to do. I wanted to make it very local, very traditional. And then I was talking to a retired military army officer who's had some experience with terrorism in Nigeria and stuff. And he mentioned to me that there was a fighting style called Dambe that's in the north. And I'm like, so I researched it, and being a martial artist myself, it helped. I could understand what they were doing by just watching. So I built that into the scene, because if these guys were trained in the north, then it made sense that they would fight like the northerners, right? So there's a rhythm to the fight sequence, right? So Kazim dominates at the beginning because he's really just trying to shut Amir down. Then Amir really doesn't fight him throughout the scene. He just, it's protecting himself more than fighting him. And the one time that Amir tries to attack Kazim, Kazim gets angry, and you can see that instead of punching Amir, he was slapping him, which is, for me, an expression of their relationship. You know, there's a big brother nature to, he still likes Amir. You know, so even though he's trying to kill him, there's a part of him that's still like, hey, you little boy. You understand what I'm saying? And at the end of the fight sequence, Amir puts Kazim down, and on camera, we see him stab. Off camera, we see him raise a knife and stab Kazim, but then we reveal later that he actually didn't kill him. which is also an important part of the dynamic. He had the opportunity to kill Kazim a couple of times in the film, and he didn't. Because Amir is really not a killer, even though he was trained to be one. And even though he killed some people in the film. You understand? So for me, this fight sequence was, when you watch it, you might be distracted by the fight, but at the end of the day, you get more information about who these two people are. And this is something I did throughout the Delivery Boy. For people who have seen it, I usually play this game where I ask them about the relationships between the characters. And every single time, they're very apt, very spot on. I say, what's the relationship between Amir and Kazim? And they're like, oh yeah, he's like a big brother. I'm like, but there was no part of the film where anybody actually said those words. I could ask you, what's the relationship between Inkem and Amir? Or what does Inkem feel about Amir? You go, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. But nobody ever said it. Because I honestly feel, science would tell us that a majority of communication is non-verbal. Only 20% of what you perceive from anybody is based on what they say. The rest is actually based on other things, their body language and other stuff. So this film was made the same way. Yes, the characters spoke, but they were communicating with other things, with the lighting, with their body language, more than with the words that they said. So in directing the scenes, I had to be very specific with the actors and say, stand this way, raise your chin this way, because that was the dialogue, you understand? And Amir, the principal character, didn't say a lot. He was a very quiet person, because I felt that kind of character, after going through what he had gone through, he wouldn't be talkative. But then I still had to communicate what he was thinking. So the question really was, how do you capture a thought without dialogue?